everyone. Thank you very much for inviting. And first of all, really thank you very much for all support our country, our people received from Polish people, from Poland, from other European country. Really very big appreciation and thank you for that. And like my presentation is rather general about how we feel, what we are doing, how it is possible to do business in Ukraine. And what is this? Nowadays. My name is Olena Levshun. I'm a senior partner at EBS. We are present 25 years in the country and provide various services to businesses. When we are talking about the accounting, payroll, and HR services, this is mainly 99% to the foreign businesses. So for more than 20 years, which I work with the company, I'm speaking every day with the foreign clients, with the foreign representatives, and I'm since the war has started, I'm all the time asked, how it is possible? Are you really in Kiev? Are you in the office? How you can do? Is it safe? What is your family? And honestly, it is like during almost 2 years, difficult to answer in a like easy way, but we are still standing there, and we are working. And one of the reasons is that the country is one of the biggest country in the Europe. Geographically, there is a big territory which is occupied, and you might see these maps, of course, and it's difficult to stay there. However, if you see Kharkiv, for example, there are still 2 million of population located in Kharkiv nowadays. This is the closest big city to Russian territory, and it's heavily attacked and ruined. However, the people are continue doing business, working and living. And we are located in Kiev, and of course, just physically, it is not possible to reach all the territory, and of course, it's not that safe, but we adapt and we are doing that. Like, how do we feel as economy in the country? If you're talking about macroeconomical situation, then in 2022, the GDP dropped by 29%. The inflation reached 30%. The deficit of the budget reached 25%. And due to the support of the Europe International Monetary Fund and US countries, other countries, which sent more than 30 billion directly as a financial aid, we managed somehow to stabilize macroeconomical situation. When Pankaj mentioned that you're on the bottom of the macroeconomical situation, you are not, we are. I hope it was a bottom, we'll see further. However, in 2023, it looks like we managed to keep the inflation at the level of 7%, and GDP is growing up to 5%, hope it is true. And the National Bank of Ukraine accumulated the big amount of foreign reserves, which is so 30 billion, which is very big for Ukraine. And what is important is that we expect again to receive the 42 billion of international support, which is apart from military support, of course. And we are very dependent on the political crisis in US and the conflict and the war between Israel and Palestine. We feel very much. However, the business somehow adapt and continue. As well, we lost approximately 6 million of population, mainly 50%, of course, the kids and the women of middle age, which is the professionals. And this is our labor force, which is moved out of the country. Hope will return somewhere, but we'll see. And if we are talking about the budget estimation for 2024, again, we are talking about estimated 10% inflation and 5% GDP growth, which is really very dependent to forecast and predict. However, it depends on the military actions in the country as well. If we are talking about, we have very big limitation imposed by the National Bank of Ukraine to retain the situation. The foreign currency transactions are really blocked. The foreign exchange rate was fixed for all the time, and it was floated since October this year. and it stays more or less okay. So after it was devaluated by 30%, it is now more or less stable. It is forecasted at a higher level, of course, in 2024, but we'll see. At the same time, we are closely working with the two biggest chambers in Ukraine, which is American Chamber of Commerce and European Business Associations, which are all the time monitoring the situation with industry, real businesses, which is operating. So when the recent research, which was conducted among the businesses, which are still actively participate in the chambers, that shows that 58% of businesses are positively looking in 2024. 30% is unchanging and 13% are still negative. The currency exchange rate is 41 to $1, just to understand the difference. We had 27 at the beginning of the war, and we are sitting now at 37. So 41 is forecasted. It does not seem too high for us. It's extremely high, 10% difference, but we as a country get used to this. Staff. Of course, the businesses which are operating, looking for the staff increase in general. Of course, sometimes it is replacement, but the company are retaining the staff as much as possible. However, the unemployment level declared is 13%, but I would say that statistical information and the market geographically is distorted. If we're talking about Kiev, the big cities, of course, the unemployment level is lower. And because of the situation with the mobilization, with people hiding from the army, again, the picture a little bit distorted. Again, for 2024, more than 70% of the businesses increase in the growth, both in hryvnia, in natural volumes, and etc. Of course, there are businesses which shrink because of the cut of the territory, because of the cut of the 6 million people, which is a level of consumption. It is very important, you mentioned several times, that the labor market and the level of inflation and the comparison of the inflation of the salary and the possibility to consume, the businesses are plan to increase the salary. 90% plan to increase the salary, and from where here we are talking about from 10 to 20%, up to 10%, or do not even change the salaries. In our country, of course, it's always the case that the inflation of the salaries goes with delay to the inflation of the real market and the prices in the market. However, we are obliged and we have to react because this is a question of surviving for the people. And of course, the companies are still have a new investment in social area of supporting people and their family, and heavily donated to the army, because the companies are also responsible for the people who are in the army, for the families, and this is a general social responsibility of the businesses. Here is some duplicated information, but according to the American Chamber of Commerce, approximately, I don't see the result, but 75% of the businesses retain on the same level of the operations as they were in the war. Of course, we are talking about the big international companies, which has a support from the headquarters and has a long and big presence. This is not that all pictures. However, it represents a big portion of the industry in the business. And okay, this is a repeated information. However, Ukrainian businesses and industry might have a different situation. And IT sector has a little bit different picture, because IT industry was one of the top industries in the countries before the war, and it continues to be there, and it still grows by more than 7% in dollars during 2022. We'll see how they will end up with in 2023. As I mentioned, we are heavily dependent on the foreign support so far, and Ukraine was granted with Ukrainian Facility Fund equal to 50 billion euro. for next 4 years, and the Ukrainian government is still working on the program, how to consume, how to allocate, how to utilize. I did not hear about the final program. However, it is in the process, from which the biggest portion of cost will go to 80% will go to support the budget, because this money cannot be given for the military aid. So the budget, everything which is collected by the government should be financed the military business, not the business, from their pocket, in addition to this support which we received. The areas of investment. There are a lot of conferences and the activities where Ukraine is talking with the investors, with the businesses, with the countries on the attracting the investment in the countries. And this is the areas which are announced and the obvious for being the most necessary and fast developed in the country. Definitely security and defense. Current war is the war of the drones, and nobody in the past used this volume, this technology in such a big volumes and quantity as it's done now. Even we, medium-sized business, has 2 clients which produces the drones in Ukraine. So this is a question of technology. Infrastructure and construction. There is a boom on the investment in the production of construction materials, construction technologies, trucks, concrete, etc. So recently I heard that the CRH is planning to acquire several more plants to have 50% of cement productions in the country. We'll see what will happen. Green energy. It was also very actively developed in the market, and all the wind energy and sun energy. Unfortunately, a lot of the plants are located in the eastern and territory which is occupied. We also have clients who develop the wind farms, and we are in the occupied territory sitting and waiting for the deoccupation. Energy and renewables. I will switch to IT back. This is something which is also of very interest, might be and will be for all other countries, because the level and the quantity of destruction we faced exactly last 1 year ago, starting from October, that power plants, electric grids, etc., was heavily destroyed. We faced all the blackout situation. So now it should be absolutely reconstructed in a clever, modern way, without the inherited construction of the Soviet Union, because we had a huge plants which delivers electricity to big population. Once it is shut, the huge population left without the electricity. Medicines, rehabilitation processes. This is something which is obvious. However, of course, the number of people who will need the rehabilitation processes is huge, and it is already in the country, this support, but it will grow and grow. The IT and technology, agricultural is missed somehow. IT and technologies, as I mentioned, this is an industry which was developing very fast in the country, and IT specialists in Ukraine was very well high demanded. Of course, the sector has dropped down a little bit in 2022, but also due to the drop down of the IT sector worldwide. And of course, the project disappeared from the country, left the country for some cases because of the risk of people getting the access to IT specialists. However, this is a industry which is still alive and very active. We see M&A transactions. We see the company which is entering into the market. We are providing a lot of accounting support to the accounting, tax, business support to the client of IT industry. And again, this is other industries which are of interest. And the mining, you would never expect that the mining needs would be needed in the European countries. However, this is a very important thing which we'll face for many years now and after the war will finish, because this is a question of big agricultural plots which are mined now, and nevertheless agricultural businesses are investing a lot by themselves in doing this and continue to grow the crops in these fields which are very close to the occupied territory. Coming back to the investments, nevertheless there are a lot of road shows and a lot of talks and plans to invest. The BlackRock plan to participate with a huge investments. However, it is obvious that we will not see the big investment, real investment, until the war finish, because this is a huge military risk. You never know when the missile will shoot in which place of the country. Therefore, there are a lot of talks about the military guarantees. We have only one case, a real case, when Ukrainian company applied for the $9 million of military guarantee. This is Dragon Capital, one of our biggest investment company in the country. And what we see is that investment are continued, honestly, not that big as we require, however. And who is investing? They invest in those companies which were in the country before the war starts, who knows the political situation, the circumstances, the people, the risks, and can react accordingly. We have two biggest investment companies in the country, Horizon Capital and Dragon Capital. Horizon managed to raise new investment fund equal to $300 million recently, starting from $150 million, which is amazing for us these days. The company which had the production plants continue to investment buyer is investing in the seed production plants. Kingspan, our previous client, Polish companies, Ireland company, announced that they plan to invest in the plant, of course, in the western part of Ukraine. Philip Morris, which has a damaged production plant in Kharkiv, plan to invest in the construction of the new plant. And there is a news that the Polish logistic operator also plan to invest in the logistic transactions in the country. This is a very small example. However, we have the more, definitely not enough to continue. So we hope it will come. Once again, about IT. Coming back to the general tax system in Ukraine, it was not really changed since the beginning of the war. There was some simplification, like reduction in the taxes, reduction in the VAT for temporary basis. We were pushed by the International Monetary Fund to get rid of that. And however, we have the new tax regime. We would call it offshore in the country for IT industry and the military tech. It is very beneficial in respect to the tax rates, both for the personal income tax and the profit tax. The companies who are entitled is those who generate the revenue exceeding 90%. IT, military tech, and all tech industry. The companies which employ more than 9 people and has average monthly remuneration more than 1,200 euro, which is absolutely normal for most of IT companies in the countries. And this gives them the right to apply 5% personal income tax rate versus 18%, and almost not to apply social security contribution, which is 22% as a standard rate. They have to pay 22% from the minimal salary, which is almost nothing. And they have the option to apply CPT 18%, which is usual rate, or apply tax on dividends, which is in the process of implementing in Poland, Estonian tax. This is allowed only for the Dia City residents, and the tax even 9%, even less than 18%, which is beneficial. The companies are moving there. We'll see how it will, but IT sector feels more or less okay in the country. I'm finished. Just coming to words about the company, we provide a full range of services, back office services like IT, accounting, payroll, HR, tax, audit, and legal services, and we provide the services to different countries, to different industries. So we know how to talk with the business which enter into the market. And we have 3 offices in Ukraine: Kyiv, Lviv, and Kryvyi Rih. Thank you very much.